Hi there, welcome to the YouTube channel. We're back with yet another random commander that got selected by hitting the random button on EDHREC. Not sponsored. Today, Saint Traft and Rem Karolus, or as I'm going to go, Saint Rem, because I just can't say that, it's too much of a big mouthful for me. Blue, red and white for a 3/4 spirit human, and every time Saint Rem gets tapped, the first time you get a 1/1 red human creature token, the second time you get a blue spirit with flying, and the third time you get a 4/4 angel flying. Yeah, this is good. And whenever you cast a spell that has Convoke, untapped Saint Rem. Yeah, it's a Convoke deck. I haven't done a Convoke deck, and to be fair, my favourite colour combination isn't this one. But, and it is a big but, I have played this deck and it does work reasonably well because of a couple of cards in it. So, this is what today's deck is all about and what it looks like. So here we go. Before I go through the whole deck though, probably one of the more expensive ones I've done on the tabletop. I'm not making any excuses for this day because of some of the cards in the deck to make this tick. And yeah, even on MTGO it's nearly 87 tickets, so not the cheapest one I've done for a while. But anyway, at the beginning, obviously we want to have creatures in play that convoke things. So we're looking at tokens, we're looking at things that help us cast spells. So Generous Plunderer, my make do Dockside Extortionist until hopefully Dockside becomes unbanned at some stage in the future by Wizards, is here to give us those treasure tokens. Going from there, we have Party Thrasher, which gives all our non-creature spells Convoke. And then at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may discard a card. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library, then choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Cope with that plan. Martyr's Souls next, which is our first Convoke creature. Enters the battlefield. If you control no tapped lands, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So you want to be convoking this out with your creatures to make it come in as a 5/4. It's really quite good. Squeak the Immortals in. Yeah, it's here because we can cast it from anywhere. As soon as it gets killed off in your graveyard or goes into exile, you can just recast it and have fun with it again and use it as a really good convoke target. Wildfire Awakener is fantastic. We want to convoke this as high as possible and pay as much mana as we can into X to get all those little 1/1 red elemental creature tokens that have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, it deals 1 damage to target player. That really does work nicely in a convoke deck. Benny Brack Zoologist is here to give us a card draw every time we make a token, which we'll be making a lot of. Cathay, the Famed Mechanist, also makes an appearance. The Fabricate is here, and other non-token creatures you control have Fabricate. So, if you don't know what Fabricate is, I guess it's not on the reminder text on this version, you either put a +1/+1 counter on your creature when it comes into play, or you get a 1/1 servo. With this deck, you're going to be making all your non-token creatures have the servo token, and then you're going to populate things up so you get an extra token every turn, which works really well if you get one of the angels from up here off Saint Traft, or Rem, Saint Rem, that's what I was going with, because then you can populate and have a extra 4/4 angel, which helps. Kaikar Wind's Fury's in. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we get a spirit token, and we can sacrifice the spirits off to get a red mana if we need it. Zephyr Singer convokes, and when it enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on each creature that convoked it. That gives you a nice way of getting around any ground pounders and getting in the air for some serious damage. Akram, the Soaring Wind, is also in. Whenever you create 1 or more tokens for the first time each turn, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. Yep. And then all our creatures can get double strike for the small cost of 6 mana. Anyway, Arthur, Marigold Knight, comes in. Gives us a way of getting some creatures into play. I just wanted something that was a bit beefy and a bit more useful than any of the other legends in the deck, and this one fit the bill from my point of view. Especially since you can hit the creature, put it in your hand at the end of combat, and then recast it if you need to. Maybe a convoke creature, maybe Conclave Phalanx springs to mind. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. Convoking this out isn't difficult with this deck at the end of the day. Gandalf the Grey also makes an appearance because of the instants and sorceries we're going to be casting. Copying things is nice. Getting 3 damage to each opponent's even nicer. Tapping or untapping a target permanent could be useful if we're convoking stuff. Bear that in mind. Joyful Storm Sculptor comes in with 2 elemental tokens, and then whenever you cast a spell that has Convoke, the Joyful Storm Sculptor deals 1 damage to each opponent in each battle they protect. Yeah, okay, we do have a battle, so yeah, we do have some ways of making it useful. Knight Errant of Eos comes in, Convoke it, enters the top 4, enters the battlefield, look at the top 6. 2 creature cards with mana value X or less from among them, where X is the number of creatures that convoke the Knight. So you want to be convoking it all for 5, so you get a couple of your 2/2s, your 3/3s, so on and so forth. That's what we're aiming for with this. The Wandering Rescuer is purely here because it means that when all our creatures are tapped to be convoked, they have hexproof, so it's going to be really hard to break up our convocation. Convocation? Yeah, I like convocation. We use convocation as we go along. Venerated Loxodon gets convoked in, and he gets put +1/+1 counters on each creature that convoked it. Flock Chaser Phantom, has Convoke, Flying and Vigilance, and whenever Flock Chaser Phantom attacks the next spell you cast, this turn has Convoke. Now, this is important because it says the next spell, not the next instant, sorcery or anything. It can be any of our spells that gains Convoke when this is here, so this is fairly key to the deck. I'm playing the Overlord of the Mistmalls because of the 2 little 1/2/1 insect creature tokens with flying it gives us, so it gives us a bit more convoking fodder. Shadow Puppeteers does the same thing as well because it gives us a couple of black fairies, and then whenever another creature you control with flying attacks, you may have it become a red dragon with base power and toughness 4/4 until the end of turn, in addition to its other colours and types until the end of turn. Yeah. They work quite nicely together, to be fair. Anyway, Shivering Branch Burner has Convoke, Flying and Haste, 4/4 dragon. Nothing fancy, just a big dragon, which we can cast for the cheap, I hope. Angel of Salvation has Flash and Convoke and Flying, and next time when it enters the battlefield, prevent the next 5 damage will be dealt to any number of target creatures and or players divided as you choose, so it can save you if you're dying. Flight of the Equinauts is just another big flyer that convokes in. This one's 8 mana to card cast, 4/5 flying. You should be able to convoke it for about 2, I think, which will be a lot better. And finally, Interdisciplinary Mascot. Convoke Ward 3. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. 1 in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Quite easy to convoke. Only 1 Planeswalker in the deck. That's Teferi, Temporal Archmage, so we can -1 to untap 4 permanents, which can help with the convoking even further. And then 1 battle, the Invasion of Zegovia, comes into play. We get 2 1/1 blue Kraken creature tokens, and then non-creature spells when we get the battle flipped, you cast have Convoke, so it gives everything Convoke, so bear that in mind. And also at the beginning of our end step, we get to untap up to 4 target creatures. Gives us a way to get those blockers in place if we need them. Speaking of spells, we have 21 in the deck. Some have Convoke, some don't. Some help us generate tokens, like Dragon Fodder, like Krenko's Command. Tokens, raise the alarm, return to the server expedition. There you go. And Hop 2x. I figure we must have some rabbits bouncing around as well. We've also got Grand Crescendo, which we can use to get a whole load of green-white citizen creature tokens. Give everything indestructible, so we have more tokens to convoke with. We have Return to the Ranks. Return X target creature cast with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's just a convoke spell. I mean, we do have, well, we have 2 basically. It may be a bit of a wasted slot, to be fair, now I think about it. I think, but we'll leave it in for now because, at the end of the day, getting back our 2/2s could be useful. I suspect this will be dropped very shortly though. Devouring Light is the convoking, lets exile target attacking or blocking creature. Teferi's Protection saves us from everything. Clever Concealment lets us just phase out all our permanents. Now, it's not like returning. When you phase out tokens, they stay phased out and they come back in again, just so we're clear on this, because I know people get a bit confused with phasing. That does work. It's not like they're being removed from the battlefield, they're coming back into play. They're just phasing out, they're just going into a special place. Anyway, Meeting the Minds, draw 2 cards with a convoke value. Stoke the Flames does the damage, as we all know. Transcendent Message lets us convoke quite a lot to draw some cards, which I'm happy with. Meditation Puzzle lets us convoke for 8 life. Step Between the Worlds. I played this one because, in addition to Time Spiral, because I quite like this one. 3 and 2 to just hard cast it, or we can plot it out and get it out of our hand. and then play its plot cost of 4 and double blue to shove everything from our graveyard and our hand into our library, and everyone draws 7. That's good. However, we do have one way of doing an alpha strike, which is the flying crane technique, which I thought would be quite fun, giving all our untapping all our creatures, getting them to have flying and double strike until the end of the turn. And we have got a way of giving this convoke outside of the battle we've already seen, and the creature that gives the next spell we cast convoke. Time spirals. Time spiral. Triplicate spirits convoke out 3 white spirits. Calamity of Cinders lets us deal 6 damage to each untapped creature, so we can convoke, and just do this, so everyone else's creatures take 6, and hopefully all our convoked ones will survive. But we have Hour of Reckoning as well, which takes out all non-token creatures. With the amount of tokens we should be generating with this deck, this should leave us with an army in play and no one else with anything, so bear that in mind. Finally, Chant of Vitu-Ghazi is here to prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures this turn. Prevent all damage that would be dealt by creatures this turn. Get it right. And then we gain 1 life for each damage prevented this way. Nice way to pad our life total back up. We have quite a few artifacts, which are Rampy's tile stuff. So Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Elixir of Immortality, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. Well, no Elixir is not a ramp, but you've seen it enough in my decks by now. Soul Ring, Signet, 1 of each of the medallions, and then we have Halo Fountain to give us some more. Untap one of the creatures with tap to convoke, which is quite nice with Saint Traft. So we can keep, if we've got mana, we can just keep untapping him to do a little bit of funkiness, I hope, and give us an extra creature. Maybe we'll get off the 15 untap 15 tap creatures we control and get the win off. Who knows? It's going to happen for me at some stage. Hopefully it will with this deck. But one of the most key cards in the deck is Wand of the World Soul. 3 mana for basically a diamond that taps for white mana. Going to enter play tapped. But it's a second ability that's key in this deck. The next spell you cast this turn has Convoke. Bear it in mind. Really, really good in here. We have a few enchantments, not too many. We have Jeskai Ascendancy because we're in the right colours for Jeskai, and casting non-creature spells means creatures we control get +1/+1 until the end of the turn, and we untap those creatures. This with Convoking is really good because obviously you're tapping the creatures, untapping them, tapping them, untapping them, so on and so forth. And then we do a little bit of looting if we want to as well. We Ride at Dawn lets us convoke out all of our legendary creatures we have in the deck, and whenever our commander attacks we get a mercenary creature, so yeah, another token that we can use to convoke something else with. Because we like tokens, Anointed Procession is obviously here to double up on them. Conclave Tribunals here just to take out the most annoying thing our opponents have in play, and then to make sure we get our damage through. City on Fire. If a sorcery we control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage instead. Convoke is 8 mana. It's got Convoke, but it's 5 and red. It's 3 red for 8 mana. You should still be able to get this down fairly early with this deck to get it convoked out and get that damage going through more rapidly. Lands wise, yep, red, white and blue lands all the way through. Because we are playing a 3-colored deck, Field of the Dead is here. We have got the Snarls in, we've got the floodplains, the fortresses, the usual selection of things. But the cost of the deck is really boiling down to a couple of the cards in here, like Plateaus in here, and there's another one somewhere. I can't remember where it is now, but there's a few of them in here. He says, scrolling up as he's talking into the microphone to prove he's not a complete idiot. Maybe not. No. Okay, maybe I didn't put the other one in. I thought I did. I haven't got the red-blue one in MTGO land, but hey. Maybe it's me just going mad. But anyway, that's it. That's my very random take on Saint Traft and Rem Karolus for today. Convoking, a few more convoking spells in those 3 colours would have been nice, but if there's anything I've missed or you think I should be playing in the deck, please leave me a comment down below. I do read every comment that gets put on my videos, and I do try to respond to all of them as much as I can, and I do really appreciate the feedback I get from you, the subscribers. So please let me know. If you want to see me play this on stream, feel free to come give me a follow down on Twitch. There's a link in the description down below. And I will be back tomorrow with the last deck of this week. So come back tomorrow and see what I have planned for that. And I'll tell you now, it comes from Fallout. So for now, take care, have fun. See you in tomorrow's video. Bye.